Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second Edible Garden Odyssey ahead of the 2024 Urban Agriculture Month. I'm very excited to be back live with you again on the Odyssey with two wonderful guests who will set my costa-vator flying between here where I am on Wurrung Country in Preston in Melbourne. And I'd like to acknowledge that this is where I am, and everything about our Urban Agriculture Month is to do with connecting, understanding, and learning more about this wonderful land that we're on and how we can nurture and protect it. And so from here, I'll be flying up the Hume, dropping into Canberra, and then from there, I'll be coming back and heading out towards Daylesford to Blampied. And in between, we get to catch up with Nick Rose, first of all. But before I do that, I'm just jumping across to Instagram to welcome our Instagram viewers. So big welcome to our Instagram viewers and our second Edible Garden Odyssey. Thanks for joining in, and I'm just looking there. My little most recent addition to our family was about to be delivered to me, but I've gone live now, so I'll have to catch him after a cuppa. So yeah, welcome everyone. If you could let us know in the comments on Insta and here on Facebook and YouTube, if you're with us on YouTube, let us know where you're joining us from. Which country are you on? As I said, I'm on Wurrung Country, and also which town that relates to. So we've got an idea. I can see that Kalamunda over in WA has joined us. So big welcome to Andrew and Mandy from the Kalamunda Garden Festival. Now, and I can see that Ange has joined us from the Gold Coast. Annie Kaysen has joined us from North Carolina, giving us an international feel. Phil from Zetland in Sydney. Welcome, Phil. Costa's Garden Odyssey was my favourite. Please make Edible Garden Odyssey with ABC or SBS. Yeah. Well, look, we do our best to do that every week on Gardening Australia, that's for sure. Karen's joining us from up on the Sunshine Coast. Welcome, Karen. And Christine King from Sanford and the Sanford Edible Garden Trail, a wonderful group that is going from strength to strength in terms of, we're talking Edible Garden Odyssey, and the Edible Garden Trail up in Sanford is probably into its 5th year, I think, now. So welcome, Christine. Paramount Country in Adelaide. Welcome, Courtney. All right. So first up, I'm going to bring Nick Rose in. For those of you who are part of Urban Agriculture Month and who know Sustain, the Australian Food Network, you will be very familiar with Nick. And Nick is joining us from here in Melbourne as well. Good morning, Nick. Welcome.
Good morning, Costa, and good morning to everybody joining us from around the country and even internationally. That's so exciting to hear friends and supporters of edible gardening from overseas being part of this Odyssey. Absolutely fantastic to hear that. And I'm joining you from sunny Footscray, which is also on Wurrung Country in Melbourne's west. So not too far from where you are, over in Preston.
Yeah, I can see you're beautifully backlit. We've got beams of light flaring. You're perfectly framed, and we're ready to be framed by Urban Agriculture Month. Tell us, and particularly for the Instagram viewers who last week the connection didn't quite work. So give us a little bit of an idea of Urban Agriculture Month, its background, and what's planned for this year.
Yeah, for sure. So just to say that as Sustain, the Australian Food Network, as one of Australia's longest established organisations focused on supporting urban agriculture across the country, we've been working on this now since we launched back in October 2015. We are huge believers in the power of food to connect community and to bring people together, and in people acting where they are to make change in their own lives, for their own communities, neighbours, suburbs, towns, cities, and building up, across regions to national and global level. Like, we're seeing change happening from the ground up. And I know you're a huge champion of that with your support for Community Gardens Australia. We'll be hearing from Naomi a little bit later on. And that's what Urban Agriculture Month is really about. It's a great sort of gathering and bringing together of all and we think it's in the millions of people around Australia who are involved in growing food in some way, whether it's in their own backyards, their verges, their median strips, their community gardens, their school gardens, wherever it might be, their community centres, neighbourhood houses. It's a huge movement, but it's a bit of an underground movement. It's not really in the public eye as much as it should be, because the work that everybody involved in this space does is just so important. It always has been, but now with the challenges that we're facing at the local level, national and global level, it is more important than ever. So this month is about a celebration of everybody who's been working in this space and everybody who's joining us now to work in this space. But it's also about demonstrating its importance and its relevance in so many ways, and why it needs to have greater recognition, greater support, more access to land, more access to resources, more access to funding, embedding it in council plans, state government plans, federal government plans and strategies, making land available for community gardens and urban farmers, young people to enter agriculture, because this is really the foundation of the future of this country. It's a huge part of it. So it's a huge campaign. It's a celebration and it's a campaign, and we launched it in lockdown year 2, 2021, and it's grown since then. So this is a big shout out to everybody who's watching, everybody who's involved in any way in growing food, to jump on board, to go to urbanagriculturemonth.org.au. It's free to register, and just organise an event, whether it's just as simple as a tour of your back garden, inviting your neighbours in, showing them what you're doing. That's the invitation here.
It's interesting what you said, Nick, about that concept of the reality that there is those kind of numbers, millions of people that are doing something, and whether that's growing a small amount of food on your balcony, or, having a traditional backyard where you're growing vegetables, or you're part of a community garden. When we think about those numbers, the more that Urban Agriculture Month builds momentum, and the more that people, stand up and say, yeah, I'll just do a tiny little thing and say, come and have a cuppa and stand in my front yard and I'll show you around. When we register this and then you have those statistics, you think about the survey that we did and what those statistics meant to, the potential to make that $500 million, it's not a dream. That's just a target, and that's a strategy to work towards that strategy. That can only happen when everyone, that's part of this broadcast, everyone that's part of Urban Agriculture Month and the Community Gardens Network, register and build a data bank to say, this is for real. This is not just some, toxic positivity around the idea that, cottage people growing in their backyard are going to make a difference. That's the difference that's going to matter moving forward, like you say.
That's right. Yeah, of course, you're talking about the Pandemic Gardening Survey, Costa, which you were a huge part of in championing that back in July 2020, when we had over 9,000 people right around the country who jumped on board and spoke about what it meant for them to be able to have the opportunity to grow their own food during those difficult times of lockdown in July 2020. It was a huge response, and so many powerful messages came out of that, not least of which was the importance of being able to grow your own food in terms of improving your mental health and dealing with heightened anxiety and worries at that time. But so much more, of course, as part of that. So look, even 10 years ago, the Australia Institute did a survey where they national survey, and they said, are you growing or raising some of your own food? And their stats, even back then in 2014, suggested that over half the Australian population were involved in some of those activities. So we are definitely talking in the millions, but it is, it is an underground activity. It's not really recognised and valued as it should be. And this month is an opportunity to change that and to say, this is powerful. This is really significant. This makes a huge difference to people's lives in so many ways. And it's about the collective. It's about sort of saying, we're not, this is not just about me and my little patch and my courtyard or my back garden doing it as an individual. It's about all of us together as a movement that is part of a sustainable and flourishing future, not just for this country, but really for the whole planet. Because as you know, food and gardening and soil is the great connector. It's what brings us all together, and that's why we're doing this, and that's why we're so pleased to be working with you and your audience across all the channels to celebrate and recognise the fantastic diversity right around the country of people who are just doing amazing creative things in all these different patches.
Well, Nick, thanks for setting the scene and the tone for what's coming in November, but also for what's just going on an ongoing basis. And that means that it's time for me to get in the costa-vator. And the beauty is we're going to be coming back to you in about 40 minutes to have a little look around the patch that you're going to share with us. So, Nick, I shall see you shortly. In the meantime, I'm in the costa-vator. I better just disconnect my my earbuds here. So I'm pushing go, and here we go. Whoops. And I think I just have crash landed off. I'm a bit wet. I landed in Lake George, and I'm just heading up the road a little bit where I'm going to find none other than Naomi Lacey, President of Community Gardens Australia. Naomi, welcome.
G'day, Costa. How are you going today?
Good to see you. That was a nice, soft, buoyant landing I had in Lake George there, which I noticed on Monday and Tuesday, last weekend when I was in Canberra for Floriade. There's a generous amount of water in the lake at the moment. It comes right to the edge of the road.
Yeah.
So there's definitely nothing much growing in the lake other than the water life. But tell us a little bit about your role in Urban Agriculture Month and your role with Community Gardens Australia and how it fits in with the big picture Edible Garden Odyssey.
Yeah, thanks, Costa. I'm here on Ngunnawal Country, just outside of Canberra. Apologies, I can't take you to the garden I had planned this morning. There was a bit of a last-minute hiccup that occurred, so didn't have time to find another garden and drive down the hill to get to it in time. But it's a beautiful windy day here. I think we're going to get 60-knot winds later this afternoon, so we've got to strap down the dogs and make sure the little tomato seedlings don't get blown away. But we've got a pretty exciting event happening here in Canberra next weekend, Costa, our ACT Community Gardens Gathering. As you're aware, we've been running events in every state and territory this year to invite the community gardeners of the world to come and join us, and anyone else that has an interest in community gardens or just gardening in general. And we've got a fabulous day planned on the 12th of October, next Saturday, at Canberra City Farm. I'd like to invite anyone in the region that would like to come and join us, please do so. We've got some fabulous speakers. We've got, Lucy Pretty-Well Costa, Lucy Ridge from the Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance. She's going to be speaking about the role that community gardens play in our world with regards to food sovereignty and food security and so on. Apparently she's going to use a tomato as the life cycle of the tomato as her sort of base for her talk, so I'm pretty interested to see that. We've got Chris from Tinderi Mountain Herbs. He's talking about all the things that we can do with the herbs that we grow in our garden that we may not have thought of before. So very interested to hear that. And I think he's got some pretty cool folklore to share with us as well. Like apparently you're supposed to hang dried yarrow in your tool shed to keep the evil spirits away. Were you aware of that one, Costa? Thought that was quite interesting.
Well, I am now.
We don't want the evil spirits getting near our rakes and shovels, do we? So,
no, we got to have good juju in the shed.
That's right. And then we've got some wonderful workshops throughout the afternoon, everything from biochar to garden design and planning, some more herbal-based workshops. We've got tours of the low-energy super shed, I think it is. I can't remember what it's actually called, Costa, but it's a wonderful design showcasing all of the different types of low-energy building materials that you can use either in your home or in your sheds, your community gardens and so on. So they've got tours happening of that. Also some tours of the Jerrabomberra wetlands, which will be pretty amazing, which are right next door to the farm. So yeah, really big day, and we'd love everyone to come along and join us. If you like, you can get your tickets at Humanitics. Just look up Community Gardens Australia and it'll pop up there for you. And then obviously with Urban Agriculture Month, we've been a big part of this with Nick and the Sustain team for a few years now, and really encourage all the community garden members and even those that aren't members to really get active and get involved in the month. It's as Nick said, it's it's a great way to share what we're all doing and teach people more about how they can grow their own food and be a part of that journey. So there'll be events happening in many community gardens around the country all through Urban Ag Month. So keep an eye out for that. We've got our national conference up on the Gold Coast on the 9th and 10th of November. That's one of the big events we're running for that. At the end of the month, we've got our WA Community Gardens gathering on the 30th of November at Piney Lakes in Perth. You're coming along to that one, aren't you, Costa? That'll be great to have you there.
I'm looking forward to that because I'll be over there also for the Kalamunda Garden Festival. So if anyone's doing the Community Gardens Festival, the next day is Kalamunda on the Sunday, which is Andrew and Mandy are big advocates for people connecting and growing gardens and growing their own food. So yeah, I can't wait for that. And actually, I'll just come back here. I believe I might be sliding my way through Canberra on my way back from the Environmental Educators Conference later this week for the morning session at the ACT community gathering on Saturday. So I look forward to seeing everyone on Saturday as well.
Yeah, that's going to be great to have you drop in there. Everyone will be very excited to see you as always. So. And then we've also got for Urban Agriculture Month, Costa, we've got the 24th of November, which is a Sunday. That's our second ever National Community Gardens Day. So we just encourage all community gardens to open up the gates, open the doors, welcome the public in, and showcase everything that's wonderful about community gardening. So yeah, keep an eye out on the Urban Agriculture Month website, and you'll be able to see all of the wonderful events that are happening all over the country. In community gardens. Sorry about
that's
flickering. I can't stop these trees from moving. It keeps letting the sun come through.
Strobing on me.
It is strobing a bit. Sorry.
I just over on Insta, Giovanni said, I grow food in a rural setting and find it one of the most challenging with the critters and not being on mains water. Yeah, well, that's one of the best things, Giovanni, like when you can meet like-minded people that are growing and dealing with solutions and can share ideas on how they overcome these challenges. It's, this is what, Nick was talking about and Naomi's talking about, just coming together. And Mara, who we've got coming up next, she's going to share with us what she does, and she's in a rural setting outside of Daylesford, I know. Giovanni, I was typing the same thing exactly. Tassie Devil Woman. So it's lovely to, and this, Naomi, you know this because, having traveled to and done your community garden tour this, in the last 12 months and seen so many community gardeners sharing, as Annie says, the tales and various folklore. Genevieve said yarrow for love as well. Irish folklore. Love, she said. All right, well, I'm going to have to put a bit of yarrow around the place then. sounds like it's a thing to do, but you see just how important growing is to not just the food.
Oh, most definitely, Costa. Yeah, it has a really big impact on people's lives. There's a gorgeous young woman from down in Launceston that I know you have met before, Emily, and
Yes.
We're bringing her up to the Gold Coast for our national gathering. And young Emily, she's about 16 now, and she attributes her community gardening involvement, which she got involved when she was 9 or 10 years old, to actually saving her life. She's a young neurodiverse woman who had some real struggles at that age, and gardening brought her back to, she's still here with us today and is going from strength to strength, and that's just one story. Gardening has that, growing your own food and doing it together in community has a really big impact on people's lives. And, you and I see that, every day. And the more people we can encourage to get involved and be in community together and growing their own food, all those people will get to see the benefits of it as well.
Now, speaking of Launceston and wonderful, hardworking, committed advocates, look who has just popped on the chat here, all the way from the Marshall Islands, Jo Dean, and she said, Fukwa from Republic of Marshall Islands, garden lovers. Lovely to have you with us, Jo.
Yeah, great to hear from you, Jo. That's fabulous.
She's on a sabbatical.
Jo's, been promoting the wonderful benefits of community gardening to the Tasmanian population for years now, Costa, as you well know, and doing an amazing job of that. And she's taking all of those wonderful skills over to the Marshall Islands for 12 months to help people with their gardening activities there. I think she's got the illustrious title, Costa, of being a garden engineer in the Marshall Islands. So,
yeah,
just fabulous.
Yeah. Well, I Paulie has just sort of furthered what you were talking about, where she said, our community garden is Brinkworth. This is in South Australia. Is going to be so important with making it a connection point for those doing it tough in such dry conditions this year. And it talks to what Giovanni was talking about, and we will make sure the wicking beds pump out produce for health and well-being. And those skills, they're interchangeable and shareable from South Australia to the Marshall Islands to Canberra, and out where you are, Naomi, you have extremes. You go from deep frost to belting hot 40 degrees in the summer, and how we can manage that with systems and techniques is really what it's all about.
That's it, and being able to share that with others and network together and share all these stories and learnings and lessons that we all get every day when we're in the garden. That's a really crucial part of it, and that's what Urban Agriculture Month is all about, is sharing those stories and experiences and lessons and helping each other to do it even better and grow even more food and have greater impact on people's lives in that respect. It's a wonderful thing.
The wonderful people down here at Farm My School have joined into the chat and said it's not all about the carrots, and they're doing a fantastic job, and they actually got their first birthday coming up shortly. So keep an eye on the Farm My School site, and if you're anywhere in the Greater Melbourne district, get on out there to the school for their birthday party, which is coming up. I'll have to have a look in my diary. If you can put up on the chat what the day is, I'll share it on here. the other thing I wanted to do, can everyone jump on the chat and find their birthday emoji and love heart emojis, because we're going to do a cascade. So when I say, can you all, so put it in the chat, but don't push send yet. Just load up, everyone, load up, because we have a very, very special person who has joined the conversation today, all the way from Moruya on the south coast of New South Wales. Her name is Jean Sands, and Jean is 90 next month, and she still loves a garden. So can we all jump on, and if you can do it on Insta as well, load up with whatever you like, hearts, birthday cakes. I think hearts. I'd like to see hearts. I'd like to see a cascade of hearts. So load up the chat, and I'm going to count you in a couple of, in 30 seconds, and then I'll just say hit it. And I want to see this cascade, and I want it to rain all the way down on Moruya to Jean over there. Jean, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I'm stoked. There's nothing better than having our elders totally immersed in everything that we do. And as Stephen McKnight says, an extra hour. We have an extra hour of daylight to help grow things from today too. That might be met with mixed opinion further north, but I'm not going to enter that debate now, because at this moment, the next 30 seconds is all about Jean. I think I'm going to count it in, because we're going to head out to Daylesford in a minute. But for now, I'm spinning around. I'm going to Moruya, quickly going to Moruya in the costa-vator. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the button. Let's cascade the comments. Or the emojis, at least. Here we go. Thanks, Giovanni. Oh, there they go. They're coming in fast and fast now. Thanks, Kirsty. Oh, who did that one? Who did that one? Look at this one. That is like someone has just been pumping out the Mel Ikrigai. Mel, thank you. That is just so beautiful. Stephen's put all sorts up there. Dan Platten, Kirsty, Linda, Christine, Vicky. Oh, that's for you. That's all for her. What a beauty. Thanks, everyone. There's plenty of love and emojis going on there for Jean. The community inspire me even further. So great to see. So Unisak has just said, seeing community gardens flourish and helping the community inspire me even further. So great to see this project. That was aimed at you there, Naomi. Oh, yeah. Look at I'm just seeing all the love and cakes coming in. Well, there you go. Happy birthday, Jean, for next month. What a great month to have it in Urban Agriculture Month. So, Noams, any final thoughts?
No, I think that's been really great to have a chat to you, Costa, and yeah, we look forward to seeing a heap of people in Canberra at Canberra City Farm next weekend. Come and say good day to us, and we're really looking forward to all of the fabulous events throughout November. So yeah, hope to see so many of you out there exploring your gardens and growing food together and enjoying the wonderful benefits that being in community can bring. So lovely to speak to you, Costa. I'd better let you head off now to back down to the southern climes.
Now, what day was Community Gardens Day again?
The 24th of November.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm just going to put that there.
Join the movement if you and your community garden, this is the first time you're hearing about it. Throw open the doors, put the jump on the Urban Agriculture Month website and register your event there, or just the fact that you've got the gates open for the day and you're welcome to, welcoming anyone from the community in. But just a nice way to celebrate all of the wonderful things that community gardens bring to our lives for one day.
Oh, exactly. I couldn't agree more, Naomi. Jared just says, love picking up the phone and seeing you are live, and it's a subject I love. So yeah, jump on in, Jared, and great to great to have you joining us. And we've got Pete from Reverge Community Gardens over in WA. Great to have you here with us, Pete. He's over on Insta. It's great to see so many people have joined us on Insta as well. See you, Naomi, from Annie. And Naomi, thank you. And I shall see you in 6 sleeps on Saturday morning in Canberra.
Sounds great, Costa. I look forward to it. Thanks for having us.
All right, then. Well, time for me to hit the costa-vator and head out on the federal highway. And its next stop, I'll just unhook the control panel. Time to spin the costa-vator. I'm on a very, very slidey floor here. That's making me pretty dizzy. But I've just come crashing down outside of Daylesford, and I believe it's Blampied is where I've landed. And that would mean I'm just at the gate of Mara Ripani's place, and there she is.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mara. What a pleasure to have you join us on our second Odyssey for 2024. Thank you for taking the time to be part of the Odyssey and to give me the chance to fly down the Hume and chuck a hard right on the M79. All of course, just tracking the roads as my GPS because it's fairly basic costa-vator. I don't have all the bells and whistles. Don't need them, actually. I just use the landmarks to get where I have to go. And my landmark was your garden. It's an absolute cracker. Mara, for everyone on board who some may know about you and what you're doing, they may have seen the story that you did with us on Gardening Australia a little while back. But tell us a little bit about, well, of course, where you are and what you're up to in the world.
Thank you, and hello to everyone. Great to be here. I love these events. I'm just in Blampied, which is a French word that actually is based on kind of an explanation of mountain area in this. Oh no, it actually means like dusted, flowered foot, about a castaway who hid in a barrel of flour and started walking away from that hiding spot and leaving footprints of flour on the ground. And that's where the word Blampied comes from. But I'm in my greenhouse on Dja Dja Wurrung Country, and I've been here for about 10 years. I run a small cooking school and a permaculture garden, and I'm trying to establish as much vegetation, as many growing plants as possible, both as food sources and as habitats for wildlife, and to increase biodiversity.
Well, I've got, oh, hang on a sec. I just clicked the wrong switch there. Yeah, excuse me for the somewhat Australianised version of Blampied.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. I say, except on exceptions when I want to tell people that it's Blampied, but otherwise I very rarely say it that way.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That sort of stuff. I love language, and it's always a joy to come across those little nuances. So as far as your garden goes, show us a little bit around what's behind you there. Can I see a whole lot of seedlings?
Yes, I'm going to go on a little tour. So this is the greenhouse, and it's a room devoted to growing food and drying clothes. But what you've got, I have to flip the camera, but yes, behind me are all tomato seedlings and flower seedlings, and what have I got? Zinnias and onions and leeks. And so they're all here getting ready to be taken out and hardened off. And then they will be, left out there in the cold weather for a while before I transplant them. I've also got a babaco tree behind me and a lime tree behind me, and then as I head this way, just the beginnings of lemongrass. So every season this bed becomes completely full of lemongrass, and then I harvest, dry it, use it as tea during the winter months, then leave a couple of seedlings behind to grow again. So this is this greenhouse is also designed to keep our house warm, because our house is just to the back here. So
now, Mara, just before you go on,
yeah,
I think if you jump into your screen there, you
yes,
should be able to go to settings, and it'll have camera, and then you can go to back camera, and that way you can tour us as though you're a cinematographer of sorts. I should have I neglected to do that little piece in our pre-tour briefing.
Oh, I think I've done it. Is that yes, I think.
Yeah, the rooster's in support.
Is that better? No, let me go again. Settings, camera. Okay, I've got that, and here we go. Is that better? Or
It should turn the camera if you go back camera.
back camera? I've only got settings, camera, and I can't see a back camera component. I'm so sorry.
What's it say? What's it say?
It just says camera.
Ah.
Oh, I found another setting. Hang on a second. Ooh, okay. Let's try that.
Faith. Yeah.
Okay,
Beauty. All right. You've got full screen now, so you can just be a David Attenborough cinematographer now and just point that camera everywhere. People are going to love it.
All right, let me tell you. We're on the north side of my house, where, of course, there's the most northern sun axis. A lemon tree that is produced for the first time in the 9 years we've been here, because we've got wind coming in this direction, really, really strong winds. And if only I'd planted this hedge at the start, it would have grown big enough to provide a wall to protect that lemon tree. So had I done that hedge at the very beginning, that lemon tree would have produced fruit much earlier than it did. But now I've planted it, so this lemon tree will get a little bit of protection from this teucrium hedge, which will grow up to 2 meters tall and wrap itself around here. I've got some rhubarb coming back up. This bed has been, I've added lots of compost to this bed, and I've just started planting pumpkins, but a bit early. The reason why I've got pumpkin in here is because a couple of the pumpkins from last year's harvest started to go moldy. So I grabbed the whole pumpkin, buried it there, full of seed, and hopefully I'll get some germination, but maybe not, because it's a bit too early. We're in a cool, temperate climate, so the weather is very cold here. I'm going to keep going unless you interrupt me. So on this,
go for it.
On this side, I've got, again, the greenhouse wall, and I've mulched very heavily with straw, and I've added lots of cow manure. Absolutely love going to my neighbours with my little trailer, filling it up with cow manure, bringing it back here and spreading it. I feel like I'm spreading licorice into the garden. I really get excited.
I love that. Spreading licorice. There's a T-shirt, if ever I've heard one.
I've got a rock wall here, which provides a little bit of protection, again, from the wind, and a little bit of a slightly warmer microclimate. And I've got some elephant garlic across here, so you can see it right along the wall. That's growing beautifully. I'd actually forgotten that I'd put it there, and then all of a sudden I get this wonderful surprise. Don't you love that about gardens? Just this constant surprises. It's just this awakening. It's really, really exciting. This is the herb garden, and it's closest to the house where the cooking happens. So I've got mints and lavenders, which I use in drinks and teas, rosemaries, oregano, marjoram, what else? Thyme. And so this garden is really important, and it's just waking back up.
a grapevine here, which is starting to come up and provide some protection to the house as well as colour. A kiwi here that's actually doing quite well, considering it usually needs a little bit more protection and warmth, but it's finally taking off. That is so exciting. And can you see this garden bed here? Very large garden bed. It was absolutely full of parsley, rocket, silver beet, edible chrysanthemum, lots of different types of lettuces and last year's crops. Only 3 days ago, my partner tilled it. So all that vegetation is now breaking down and adding compost. I also added cow manure to this bed before tilling so that it's all there, breaking down, adding organic matter to the soil. And then I'll come in, do rows, and then I'll plant in about December. At the very back is the other garden area with everything that's in it is remaining crops from the summer, which we leave in and just keep harvesting and harvesting: beetroots, onion, leeks, celery, spinach, and so on. And it's got a row of dahlias where the sticks are. But this garden also is going to be mowed first and then tilled and then planted in late December. So then over here is our chook area, which is a really important area for providing manure and compost for my garden. And I've got grapevines and figs and roses all along here. This fig tree is facing east and provides perfect shade for the chickens and the hens during the summer months when it gets really hot. And there was
What sort of fig
about
is it?
how hard it is to grow in rural areas, and I found that I was having all my vegetables completely devoured by rats. And I'm wondering if you're still there, Costa.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, good. Just checking that I hadn't cut out. I got to
I
a
had
point.
a question.
Oh, please. I love questions.
I had a question. What type of soil do you have out there?
Yeah,
Genevieve asked.
Yes, it's described as a red volcanic soil. So I'll show it to you, actually. I'll go to an area. Oh, no, back to where I was.
Yeah, carry on.
No, I mean, I'll show you the soil just to give you a sense of what it's really beautiful. It holds water enough, but not so much that it's not a heavy clay soil. I just think it's a really beautiful soil. Here it is. And because it's just been tilled, it's quite loose. So you can see there how it's quite friable and lots of mycelium. Can you see all that white on it? And that's because I always put a lot of straw in the soil, so it just helps to hold that water in and create a lot of fungal mycelium. So the soil here is great, and that of course just makes everything so much easier when you've got good soil. And especially on a property like this, which is really large, and I'm growing a lot of food. If your soil is poor, that just means so much more work. But in terms of pest management, I had a major outbreak of rats and mice, and they were eating everything. Like, I'd plant hundreds of pea seedlings, or seeds I should say, and the next day they'd all be devoured. And I got really down and thought, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to grow anything anymore, because I had traps out, but traps can only do so much. I didn't want cats because cats kill so much wildlife, but I didn't want to use poison either. So it was really, really tricky. I ended up getting cats. Here they are. They're indoors most of the time. And then I moved them from this area, this shed area here, to the chook yard. And essentially they live here all the time. This is where the rats like to live because it's nice and warm, and I often have straw in there, and there's the compost just here. So by having these cats, the population of rats and mice has dramatically reduced because they are brilliant at catching them. So, and at night I'd take them from this area and put them into the chook runs, again where there's always rat and mouse activity in there.
Wow, that's the first time I've ever seen cats managed in such a way, Mara.
Yes, I'm really grateful that it's working. So in the morning, I have a routine where I let them out briefly, just to give them just a little bit of an outside moment while I feed the chooks and I feed the geese, and then I call them back in. I make sure I feed them at a regular time, so they're really used to following me and staying with me. And that management of having them in this shed or in the chook yard or in the greenhouse. So the other thing that was happening is I'd put out seedlings in the greenhouse and they'd get all devoured. It was so demoralizing. And so then now by moving the cats to these various locations, I'm able to grow food again in a way that I honestly had gotten to a point. I was like, I have to give up.
Wow.
So things
Wow.
are really good again.
Um,
And now, yes?
yeah, no, carry on.
Yeah, I get so excited. This
Yeah.
is inspired by series. I worked at series as a 20-year-old, and I can really relate to the things people are saying about well-being and mental health and connection. I mean, I discovered series, in my early 20s, stumbled across it as I was riding my bike along the Mary Creek and went, what is this place? Oh my gosh, this place is exactly what I'm looking for. And it was such an amazing experience for me to connect with people who loved growing food. It wasn't just my parents, my Italian family back in little Warren Heap, growing their food and loving cooking and that really strong food culture. But of course, there were millions of people out there who loved that too. You just have to find them. So it was such a magical place in such an urban context to discover Ceres. So this is Fig Lane. Ceres has a place called Honey Lane where the market garden is. And here I've called this area Fig Lane because I've planted lots of fig trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this side and others on this side. You can barely, well, here's one here. And so can you imagine, Costa, just these big fig trees and the canopies they'll create, and I'll be able to walk and just open my mouth and let the figs drop in.
Oh, wow. That's I'm hungry, just drooling at the thought of Fig Lane. I'm going to have to time my visit for fig season.
Please do. I would love
because
that.
I would love to wander down there and just taste. And I assume you've got different varieties.
I do, but one thing about me is I almost never know what I have because these were all given to me by my mum through her friends. So they all came as cuttings. It was very exciting to discover how easy it is to propagate fig trees. So these have all come from, cuttings from people in Ballarat and friends of my family who have donated these figs to me. So it'll be, I had my first harvest last year, mostly like a deep red variety, but I can't tell you exactly what variety it is, only that it is so delicious.
Oh, yeah, sometimes that's all you need to know. The proof is in the eating ultimately.
Yes. And then over here I've got Orto too. Orto is the Italian word for kitchen garden. This was completely planted out with sunflowers, broad beans and peas. The idea being that I always have one side as a sacrificial crop and the other side in growing food that I will eat. So this has just been mowed back, and then my partner will till this area. And what will happen is what I was growing on this side will come to this side. So last summer I had potatoes and pumpkins growing in Orto West, and now all the crops from Orto West will be grown in Orto East. So this, again, after cultivation, Holly and I, a volunteer that's staying with me, will create rows and plant potatoes first, get those in, and then when it's much warmer, start sowing pumpkin seeds. I've got artichokes along here, which I use a lot in cooking to make stocks predominantly, or to preserve artichoke hearts. And then here I've got an asparagus row, and you can see, look at this, Costa. Let me.
Oh,
Hang on.
Oh, I heard that sounded like a branch snapping.
Yes. So you can see them all here. just coming through, a huge harvest actually. It's time to harvest again, and all the cow manure was spread through here. In the last couple of weeks, I had this fantastic visitor from Singapore, and he and I had created the Cow Manure Appreciation Club, and we'd take the trailer, as I said, over to my neighbours, collect it and then bring it here. And then I've got garlic on this side. So I'm running an event in November for Urban Agriculture Month. It's a garlic harvest event, and we will braid and cure and make slow fermented black garlic and make tagliatelle con aglio e olio, and just have a really wonderful gathering, community building lunch. So the garlic crop.
Stop it. Tagliatelle, aglio and olio. Oh, my Italian friend in Sydney. The time I love that the most is if we've been out and we get back late, and you've got the nums, and he'll whip up one of those pastas, oil and garlic. Talk about the most simple, and that's what I love about the Italian. The Italian way of cooking, that you do a zucchini pasta and it's just to die for zucchini. You do aglio olio, garlic and oil, and like I'm drooling at midnight eating one of those. So I'm going to be just doing laps around your area and just pulling in on those dates. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Mara.
I would. God, yes. Yeah, it is. It's the fast food, isn't it, of Italy? A really simple, but with lots of fresh garlic and lots of good olive oil. And as you said, you just find yourself so incredibly happy, which is a beautiful thing. Would you like me to stop or show you more?
Give it. Show us a little bit more. The tour is just brilliant.
Well, here I was saying this is where the potatoes have been storing over winter. I used to harvest them all and store them in a box, but then I realized, I might just leave them in the soil and see how that goes. And because our rainfall is good, but not too much, I don't get problems where there's a kind of a flooding or the soil is too wet. So it becomes a perfect storage space for the potatoes. But this is where we'll be harvesting the rest of the potatoes. You can see they're just starting to come up again, but I'll actually move them from here and plant them, as I was mentioned, on the other side, so that I don't get the same crop staying in the same soil over and over again. And then here is our fruit orchard, just starting to flower now. Cherries and apricots and nashi pears and apple trees. So it's quite a sort of significant orchard with about 40 trees. They've been really windswept. A lot of the trees are leaning to the north, and again I wish I'd done some protective hedging, but I'm doing it now. So you can see a row of Luma apiculata, which I've just cut back, which I'm growing here to the south of the orchard to try and create some wind protection for this area. I've almost lost one apple tree, which I didn't prune heavily enough when it had fruit on it, so it just toppled over and almost lost a second, and then finally went, quick, why plant a windbreak immediately? And here I've got some oak trees which will also act as a windbreak, and they are inoculated with truffles. However, my soil is very acidic, and even though I've added some alkalinity, I'm not sure whether I'll get truffles or not, but I thought I'd give it a go because that would be a very beautiful thing. And Costa, on this side, I've got chestnuts, which have all survived. They're not irrigated, so it's up to me in the summer months to come and water them. I've just added some mulch or wood chips, which are going to be spread. You can see here we've just started spreading, and across here, and we've created piles, and Holly and I again are just working our way along to provide that barrier to the roots, because otherwise it's so hard to keep up with watering. And today I've got a delivery of 100 bales of straw. I've been waiting to get more straw. I feel like I cannot garden without it because it helps me suppress weeds and manage water and irrigation. And so I feel deeply empowered when the straw arrives. It's like, yes, I can get on with life again. And because
Yeah.
all these, really need protection. They're all in a very windy area and all are hand watered. Hazelnuts at the back, walnuts, and more oak trees to provide fodder for pigs as well. Because, can I show you the pigs or too much?
Maybe we make that a tease for next. Are you close?
Am I close? Not close enough. Let's make that a tease.
Yeah, all right. Just because we're going to drop in and catch up with Nick and then wrap up, just so that people don't, being Sunday, people want to get out and get amongst it. But is this where are we back to the house? Are we?
Yes, we're back to the house now.
Oh wow! Let me bring you back on screen together. Are you able to turn the camera around?
Oh, thank you for helping me work out what to do. Yes, I will.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Mara, what a fantastic tour. The comments have been thick and fast. People have really enjoyed it. And there's lots of questions, lots of sharing about. And I think one of the most important aspects of what you shared was just that learning about the importance of the windbreaks and the impact that then the wind and the frost have combined on the growth of the trees. And I know Giovanni and Genevieve and Karen and quite a few people were chatting away in the background about the impact that those elements have had on their fruit trees and their success. And you then talking about the importance of the straw, and that the straw not only builds the soil, but it protects it and is your savior in that sense. It's really, there's been so much of a visual and educational feast in what you've shared with us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
All right, Mara. Well, we look forward to learning more about your project, and where can people find out about the events?
So I come and I've got a website called Village Dreaming, and there's lots of information on the website, lots of blog posts about our experience here and our learnings. And of course, our two events in November for Urban Agriculture Month. One is a botanical liqueurs class, which we collect botanical plants and use them to make delicious liqueurs, and the garlic harvest and curing and feasting event.
Here we go. I'm just putting the link in here, everyone, so that you can jump on Mara's website and find out about everything. And then, of course, you can find out about Mara's events on the Urban Agriculture Month website as well, and hopefully get along there and enjoy Mara's hospitality and information that she's able to share. So thanks so much, Mara.
Thank you, and goodbye to everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Naomi. Bye, Costa.
See you later, Mara.
Ciao.
Ciao. All right. Here we go. So we're just going to spin back and have a quick little catch up. I teased that out at the beginning that Nick's going to give us a little bit of a tour of where he is. So round we go in the costa-vator, and I'm back here just up the road from Preston, and Nick is here. Where is he? There he is. Nick.
Hey.
Wasn't that a fantastic tour? I mean, Mara, what a powerhouse. Everyone was just commenting. Love the energy. Love what she's doing. Love the lessons that she shared with us. That was a rich tour, to say the least.
Absolutely, it was incredible.
So give us a little bit of a tour now of where you are.
All right. So So welcome to Wurrung Country here in downtown Footscray. This is Pickett Street. You can see we're in a very urban environment.
Sure is.
Cranes there in the background. And we're here at one of the oldest churches in Footscray. I believe it's an Anglican church. See there the old grey stone, blue stone. And we're coming into one of the newest community gardens in the whole country, I think. So here we are, coming through the gates, back of the church. And this is the home of the Borderlands Cooperative, which applied to the Westgate Fund, Victorian State Government. See that there? Acknowledging the grants
Wow.
that made this possible. And we've got 8 wicking beds here. Well, they weren't wicking beds to start with, but with this grant, Sustain has worked with Borderlands to convert these wooden planter beds that were pretty run down and not productive into wicking beds. So we had a team of about 20 people, volunteers, last week, working with all the materials and a plan to build them up with the scoria, to put in the ag pipe for the wicking.
Yep.
See here the drain pipe for overflow, and just pure human labour with a plan and a group of energetic local people, putting in the soil and the aggregate, the liner, the pond liner to protect the wood, and then the mulch. And we've got 5 complete, and the other 3 are just nearing completion.
Wow.
And we'll plant up the border beds as well with some vines and climbers. And that will be a productive food garden going to local food security. This is not allotment beds for people to come and grow their own food. This is all going to local food security efforts. So that's where we are.
Gee, that's a really solid installation. Like, in terms of that infrastructure, is, once it's up and running, is really going to churn out some produce, Nick.
Absolutely. It's modelled on the Oak Hill Food Justice Fund, which has produced over 1 tonne of food in 18 months, with a similar square meterage of growing space.
So how many square meters roughly?
Here we've got, I would say, about 12 square meters. Oh, plus the border, maybe 20, a bit over 20.
In each. Oh, sorry, 20 square meters around the
in total.
edge. Oh, in total.
Yeah.
Oh, it just seems like more from what I'm seeing, or am I interpreting it wrong?
You could be wrong. You could be right. It might be a little bit more than 20, but it will be productive.
Yeah. So how many of those raised beds are there?
8.
8. And each of those raised beds is about how many square meters? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, they're about 1 meter by 2.5 to 3.
3, 8 to 24. And then you've got the area around the outside. Yeah, wow. That's definitely going to churn some food out.
It certainly will. And we need it because in Footscray Mall, every Monday, there are over 200 people lining up to receive parcels of food.
Wow. It's great to see. Thanks for the tour, Nick, because it's really nice for everyone to see like this stage of the construction, you know, and say, well, there you have it. This is, we're setting off, and you know, we'll have to come back to you, you know, when things are up and going, and just do an Odyssey at some point and check it out, so that, you know, we've just got that continuity.
That's it.
Any final thoughts before we sign off, Nick?
No, it's been fantastic again. And thank you, Costa. Thanks, Naomi and Mara. Hopefully we've given everybody inspiration to jump on board, open their own gardens, and get behind this movement for growing a healthy, flourishing, and fair food future for all of us. That's what this is about. That's why we're here.
That is the perfect note on which to close Odyssey number 2. And big thanks, Nick, for to you and Lou and the team at Sustain for helping put together the tour, and for getting up and taking us out there to Footscray and sharing the garden with us, and for all the work that you do and the team do to build the energy into Urban Agriculture Month. And I look forward to the next couple of weeks, hyping that even more, and then sharing events during the week with little announcements and little lives, short lives, saying, hey, this is happening here, this is happening there, and just get everyone talking and sharing, from the biggest to the most eclectic, to the smallest, to the most needed plots around the country. It's exciting, Nick. I'm pumped.
Awesome. Thanks, Costa.
All right, Nick. Thanks everyone. And thanks, Nick, for joining us and topping and tailing the Odyssey this morning. As Karen said, amazing setup, Nick. Great work. Thanks for your time and effort. So to everyone over on Instagram and here on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for joining us. To the replay viewers, hope you've enjoyed it, watching it as much as we've enjoyed it live. Keep an eye out for any subsequent Odysseys over the next couple of weeks, and jump on the website there, urbanagriculturemonth.org.au, and share any events, or prepare and share an event for others to tap into from the website, and let's get as many events as we can up and running around the country across November. So have a great Sunday, everyone, and we'll chat again live here soon. Ciao for now.